The Great Debate Series. Best Sports Movies.
Song's really growing on me.
Growing on you. You've loved it from day one.
Yeah,
You're like, play the song, play the song. Okay.
Yeah, so today, basketball movies, our top 5. Perloff gets the honors.
Okay, I'll start with a very serious movie. Some call it a semi-documentary. It's called Semi-Pro. Starring Will Ferrell. It did get the greatest reaction of any Will Ferrell movie. I'm not sure it's in the canon. It's not Anchorman, but I found every second of it hilarious. There's a scene where if the team scores over 100 points or some number, then he has to buy free tacos or something in the morning, free breakfast sandwiches. So he's blocking his own team's shots because he owns a small professional league in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he's basically trying to stop his own team from hitting the 100 so he doesn't have to shell out the free breakfast. He owns a team. There are so many great appearances by this. It's got Andre 3000 in his acting debut, I believe. Woody Harrelson. I mean, this is a big cast and a really, really funny movie. So my number 5 is Semi-Pro. Also, I got a lot of good reaction from Going Waterboy yesterday, so let's get some comedy up in here.
Go ahead.
Okay. Number 4 is He Got Game, which is, in my opinion, just very solid. Spike Lee, obviously Ray Allen plays Jesus Shuttleworth, and Denzel plays his father. It strikes me as kind of realistic, or pretty realistic. There were some over-the-top elements of it, but there was the way Spike shot it. It kind of felt like maybe you were watching part of a documentary, so I'm going to give it credit for not going too crazy. Okay, number 3, little movie that was shot in the Philadelphia area, was snubbed by the Oscars this year, but in my opinion is a basketball classic, of course, Hustle.
Bo Cruz, how's it feel getting into the Combine?
The Combine? I mean the Combine?
You are as of 30 minutes ago. Have you thought about what team you want to play for?
It would be honored to play for any team.
I'll tell you what, he could be playing for the Sixers right now, but Vince Merrick didn't want him.
Yeah, Vince Merrick.
Just kind of applaud for Perloff. That is so good.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we mentioned I was in Hustle, so I want to bring that up again. Played reporter number 2. Of course, Vince Merrick was the evil son of the owner.
Yep.
Robert, isn't it amazing? I am in the same movie with Robert Duvall.
Look at you.
Robert Duvall played the older owner. Vince Merrick was his son, played by Ben Foster, who's equally amazing. Sandler, I've been in a few Sandler movies. That didn't impress me.
Yeah, sure.
But that was really fun. And I read the script, Maggie, and I have no experience. I'm not an actor. I read the script, the entire script. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was crying by the end. I said, looks like a really, really good movie because most basketball movies are not good.
Basketball was the toughest category to do.
A lot of them are really silly.
Yeah.
This one seemed really serious and kind of like pegged to reality. So I really liked Hustle, and the finished product was beyond my wildest expectations. Number 2, Hoop Dreams. So you went documentary with boxing.
Yep.
With When We Were Kings, which was a huge documentary, but Hoop Dreams was the original. It was early 90s, before you had 30 for 30 or anything. Hoop Dreams took you into the lives of 2 Chicago basketball players. And to me, the amazing thing about it, I thought about the documentary, and I was researching a little bit. There was no narrator, really. It was just you were basically the camera was in the living room of these young men trying to find their way through high school into college basketball. And you felt like it was, I'm from suburban Philadelphia. I felt like I was in Chicago.
Yep.
It got me inside these people's lives, and the story turned out to be so dramatic because, spoiler alert, the star player they were following got hurt, and the more erratic player, whose father had a lot of issues, kind of rose to be a star at the end. You could not have written a better story, and it turned out to really launch the careers of the documentary makers, and have done a lot of things since. My number 1, and it's not even close. Not even close, and it's my number 1 sports movie of all time, probably. 1986, Hoosiers. Gene Hackman, obviously, as coach. What's his name? Norman Dale.
Anybody have anything they want to say?
Yeah. Let's win this and for all the small schools who never had a chance to get here.
Yeah, I mean, listen. It just
Goosebumps
gets
right
you.
there.
Oh man, Dennis Hopper is a drunk who has to come in and be an assistant.
Yep.
And everyone knows no school this small has ever won the state title. Little Ollie missing the foul shot or hitting the foul shots underhand, running the picket fence. I've seen it probably 600 times. Interesting note: did you know the guy who wrote this, Angelo Pizzo, who I actually met through Sandler once at a dinner, also wrote Rudy. So he has the sports pedigree. You can see the DNA of the two movies are very similar, but it's really good. And I mean, come on, Gene Hackman, Barbara Hershey, these are all timers.
I mean, Dennis Hopper. This was like Dennis Hopper's height too, right?
You know,
very
actually,
close to his height.
It was 86. I think Dennis Hopper
Was more like late 60s, early 70s.
Like 70s, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about
Easy Rider. When did that come out?
71, I think. But the thing about Dennis Hopper was, I think he, like the character, was viewed as an eccentric and maybe a drunk or something. He was so perfect. So he had a little dip, and then he rose again after this, and then he did Waterworld, which was terrible, right?
Oh, I mean, come on.
But I think Dennis Hopper really got back in everybody's good graces with this. I love this movie. Can watch it right now. We can put it on, and it basically taught me a lot about basketball. You know, Maggie, you got to move without the ball.
Yeah, there you go. It's a fantastic list. I think people are going to be really into your list. Again, I think I'm going to probably get the worst reaction today.
No, because there's one I left off that I think you're going to get love for.
Okay, well, here we go.
Hit me.
Here's my number 5 on my top 5 greatest basketball movies of all time. I'm not just saying this because he's sitting right next to me and because it was amazing to go to the premiere of Hustle. Hustle is a rewatchable, great sports movie and basketball movie that has actually been made in the last 15 years. That's the thing. All these other movies, they just don't make them anymore.
Nope.
Hustle is a fantastic movie. Let's just hear Perloff again, Manny, if we can. I mean, it was reporter number 2.
Bo Cruz, how's it feel getting into the combine?
The combine? I mean, the combine?
You are as of 30 minutes ago. Have you thought about what team you want to play for?
It would be an honor to play for any team.
Tell you what, he could be playing for the Sixers right now, but Vince Merrick didn't want him.
Also, Sandler is an underrated actor. We've always said that.
Oh, yeah. Uncut Gems could be on this list, too. He's incredible in that.
I will not see that movie.
Different. Yeah, it's a different. But wait, can I say one thing? Why couldn't I separate the words Bo and Cruz there? I said Bo Cruz. I should have said Bo Cruz. How does it feel to be in the combine? I worked on that line for 4 days straight, just walking around my house saying that line, and it sounded like it made no sense. And where was the mic? Why was I so far from the mic? I was in a pack of reporters.
Yes, I remember. I mean, it sounded natural.
It sounded like a reporter, kind of, but it was. I wish they had mic'd me up, but you can't do that on a movie set. Did you know that? Obviously, no.
I didn't, but
you should have seen the boom mic setup on this was crazy.
You were great in it. Hustle's an awesome movie. The fact they got so many NBA players to be in it. Anthony Edwards is good in it.
He's really good.
And Juancho Hernan-Gomez is good, and it's got like a heart. You know, it's got the underdog story. Sandler's the underdog, and Juancho's the underdog. Okay, number 4 on my list is Teen Wolf.
What?
Let's play the music, Manny, because the soundtrack of Teen Wolf is huge in the movie. And I don't want to hear from anybody that says, oh, like there wasn't enough basketball in the movie or it wasn't based around basketball. No, it was based around Michael J. Fox turning into a wolf.
Yeah, I know. It's called Teen Wolf.
But the basketball is when the scene is when we first see him turn into Teen Wolf, and that's when he gains an acceptance. This is a fish out of water story. It's he never feels comfortable as a nerdy high school guy as opposed to his friend Styles, who everybody loves, and it's turning into the wolf, but also becoming a basketball star. That's where everyone really starts to accept Michael J. Fox.
Okay, the reason I kept this off my list was the same reason I didn't put Barry Bonds on my top 25 athletes since 2000, or our top 25. Yeah. I mean, clearly being a wolf is a PED. I mean, he was basically the A-Rod of the high school basketball league. He was cheating, Maggie. I mean, the other team said it. The dude's a wolf.
I know, but the fact that Scott Howard turned into a wolf, he wasn't trying to turn into a wolf. and it would have been discrimination to keep him out. We're all about inclusivity around here.
Oh, I know.
You cannot keep out someone because they happen to not be totally 100% human.
So Barry Bonds, early in his career, was still good. Early Scott Howard was terrible in that movie. He was terrible at basketball. I don't know. I have some issues with his sudden improvement. A little suspicious to me.
Yeah.
It's almost as if he's better when there's a full moon out.
Number 3 on my list is White Men Can't Jump. It's got to be on the list. This is iconic, I think, is like a word that's thrown around too much.
Yeah.
Because this is a movie that, so many basketball movies, it's like gritty New York movies or gritty Chicago and Hoop Dreams. This is in L.A. has some gritty to it because it's all about street, pickup basketball. It's gritty. There are some dark moments, but it's also like it's sunny too. Like everyone, it's colorful and it's
the color
language
palette
and everything.
All sun.
Yes.
Yeah, it's maybe the sunniest movie ever made.
But juxtaposed with the fact that everyone's kind of like a low life, small time hustler, and Rosie Perez is actually like the genius girlfriend that's there. Okay, number 2 on my list is Blue Chips with Nick Nolte.
This ain't about education. It ain't much about winning, and it sure as hell ain't much about basketball. It's about money. Just damn money. That's what it's about, Ed. And I bought into it. I bought into it big time. I'm a big part of the problem.
So good. So good. I don't care if it's a bit over the top. It's like every possible violation that can happen in a college basketball program happens in this movie. Everything that can happen. You're paying off guys. Someone's point shaving on the team. You're trying to get dudes into college who don't have the grades. I mean, everything in this movie happens, but it's still so good. Nick Nolte's excellent in it. J.T. Walsh as the corrupt booster is perfect. Ed O'Neill as the reporter. Obviously, Shaquille O'Neal's in this movie. He's great. Penny Hardaway is in this movie. Matt Norver is Ricky Rowe.
I think Nover, yeah.
Nover, excuse me.
Remember him well at Indiana. He was by far the worst player, but he's pretty good in the movie.
So you get the cameos, too, with Bob Knight and Rick Pitino and all that.
By the way, looks a little quaint in the NIL era. It's all about money. Yeah, no duh. Still, I liked, we have a promise. We're going to rewatch this together because I think Blue Chips is dated.
I think you're going to be surprised how good it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it really, to me, it does hold up, even though it's a bit over the top. And number 1 for me, like Perloff has on his list, but I made it my number 1, it's He Got Game.
I want you to go to big state, son. That's the real reason why I'm out here. That's the reason they let me out. You find it in your heart to go to big state, and they may let me out on early parole.
So that's what this is all about, huh?
That's a part of it. That's
Jack, you just like everybody else.
Like everybody else. I ain't like everybody else. Everybody else ain't your father. Everybody else ain't bring you in this world. Everybody else don't care about you, son.
Man, I thought, obviously, Denzel's incredible. He's incredible in everything. Ray Allen really did hold his own. Rosario Dawson is great in this movie. The Mila Jovovich character is like a little bit...
What's up with that subplot?
Let's just, move that along.
Okay, yeah.
But I think what I love about this movie is it does, I think, capture well, what a phenom, like Jesus Shuttlesworth or LeBron James, or in this case, is set in Coney Island, so like a Steph Marbury, Lance Stevenson kind of thing. What the kind of pressure that they're under, where everyone's trying to just take something from them, right? And everyone's trying to get something from them. And that's, I think, the real thing with a lot of professional athletes.
Sure.
Who's trying to suckle something off of you and try to get something from you all the time?
Big time.
And that was a major theme. And then obviously Denzel Washington's character gets out of jail to try to convince his kid to go to big state university. He does, and then they screw him over anyway, and they don't let him out of jail. So it's it's got that, this sort of real life, kind of, everyone's kind of getting screwed over.
Okay. Yeah, I think we both have. You don't have Hoosiers on the list. I don't have White Men Can't Jump on the list, and you don't have Hoop Dreams. You love Hoop Dreams.
I do love Hoop Dreams, and the director of Hoop Dreams, Steve James, came on the show with us. He did the Bill Walton documentary. He was
came on the show before. He's probably not coming on again after that.